I'm doing well. How are you guys today?
Very good. Very beautiful day here in the South Jersey section of the Philadelphia market. And we know it's this time of the year. It starts to get that little chill in the air, but we'll see what it's like Sunday night when these two teams go at it. And I'll start off with this. Obviously, an undefeated Carolina team. That has typically been a more collegiate market. The Panthers have kind of been a secondary thought sometimes down there. Undefeated, are the fans starting to get behind this team a little bit more than normal?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think you've seen the kind of fan base grow since the drafting number one overall of Cam Newton. I think he's done a great job along with Ron Rivera and the coaching staff of kind of getting this fan base on track. It is ACC country down here. Definitely basketball with Tobacco Road and all the great teams there. But being undefeated helps any fan base kind of get behind your ball club.
Well, let's start with Cam. What are you seeing, Al, some of the differences in him? I know he's always been a very controversial figure, but I look at a team that doesn't have a lot of weapons, and maybe his numbers aren't eye-popping, but some people think that he might be an MVP candidate having this team at 5-0.
Well, I think the thing that we've noticed here in Charlotte, and I think nationally people are starting to recognize, is that he's a better decision maker. So in the past, he kind of relied on his athletic ability, obviously his size, strength, and skills to run with the ball. But now you see him making better decisions, checking the ball down, taking what the defenses give him, and obviously losing Kelvin Benjamin hurt a little bit at the wide receiver position, but just the maturity that we all wanted to see from Cam Newton to go along with the talent, just making better decisions, helping his ball club win. We know he's a winner. He won at Auburn. He's won when he's been here. Just can't get over the hump after maybe a great 12-4 season and losing early in the playoffs. But, man, Cam is on an MVP-type season this year.
Al Wallace, ESPN 730, with a look at the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, Newton might be the biggest name they have for the team, but this is a defensive-minded team, and they got stars all over the place on that side of the ball. What is the thing about their defense that stands out to you, Al, a guy who played on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL?
Well, I think they're a very good overall team. They have great pass rushers. Charles Johnson is down. Frank Alexander, who was slated to be the starter, went out early with an injury. But they have some guys that are stepping up and handling the defense on the front, like Coney Ealy, obviously K'Wan Short and Starlo Tulele, two young guys drafted together a couple years ago. But this defense is led by Luke Kuechly in the middle. He's just coming back from a few weeks out with a concussion. The veteran leadership of Thomas Davis, those two guys, I can match them up with any linebacker core in the entire league. I mean, we have a young guy here that is now being mentioned in the same breath as some of the elite league. Josh Norman's had an incredible start to this 2015 season.
Yeah, and Kuechly's a guy who was out for a couple of weeks. The impressive part is they were winning without him. That sure really tells you, Al, how good their defense is when you can win when you miss a guy of that caliber.
Yeah, I think they have great depth. And I played on a great defense here that went to a Super Bowl in 2004. The reason we were able to do that was the rotation that we had, not only up front, but at the linebacker position. And A.J. Klein was a guy who stepped in for Luke Kuechly and just made plays in the passing game and the running game. He'll be coming back from his own concussion. He didn't play last week. And we have Shaq Thompson, who's down with an MCL. So that depth is serving this defense well. When you can rotate guys out and keep them fresh, I know that's going to be a big coaching point, especially against Chip Kelly's high-paced offense.
Yeah, and that's something that has been really up and down this year, that offense. And they haven't run the ball very well. Sam Bradford has been very erratic. And you wonder, against this defense, where is the best way to attack them? Where are the weaknesses of the Carolina defense? Because the Eagles right now aren't doing anything very well on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think most offenses, and I know Chip Kelly gets a lot of attention for the pace, but I think the Eagles are going to want to run the ball, and that's a tough task. We just talked about that front seven led by Luke Kuechly running the ball in this Carolina, defense, and if they can do that with Murray and establish that, they could have some success like all teams do in the play-action pass game. I just don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off with this 7-ranked defense. They are really tough. They're really disciplined, and they find a way to create turnovers and get the ball back to Cam Newton, which, if you have an explosive quarterback like that, a guy that can make the plays with his arms and legs, that's dangerous to give him a short field.
Al Wallace, ESPN 730 in Charlotte. Of course, the Panthers and the Eagles. One area that I look at Carolina is they run the ball more than anybody else in the league, but they're about in the middle of the pack at running the football. The Eagles are very good. Believe they're still number one in the league against the run. Is this a bad matchup for the Carolina offense?
Yeah, I think so. I, kind of look at what the Eagles have been doing over the last couple of weeks and winning, and Fletcher Cox and those guys, man, Connor Baldwin, they're really getting after quarterbacks. They're really been able to stop the run. D'Amico Ryan's in the middle. I believe maybe Kendrick's coming back here from injury. It's tough, and I think a lot of people have decided with Kelvin Benjamin out as a weapon for Cam Newton to kind of load up the box, take away that run with Jonathan Stewart, Mike Tolbert at the fullback position, and live or die with Cam Newton beating them with his arm as a quarterback, and it hasn't paid off. He's, again, we talked about it earlier, making better decisions, finding receivers, finding guys like Ted Ginn Jr., and then, of course, I would name this guy maybe the second-best tight end in the league. Greg Olsen's just on fire, and we saw what he was able to do against that Seattle secondary and confusing them for the game winner Sunday.
Yeah, and I know the Eagles linebackers have been a solid spot, but you got Ryan's hurt, Kendricks, both of those guys coming off of hamstring problems. Hicks is a rookie. Do you think Olsen, who had 7 catches last week for 131 yards against the Seahawks, is he the guy that is going to be a big factor in this game again?
I think so. He's definitely Cam's security blanket. He's a guy you can count on to find open spots, and he's just tough, man. He finds open spots, makes difficult catches, and for those two to kind of link up to win the game, I mean, it was just sweet here. But matching him up last week against maybe the best tandem of safeties in the league, it's going to be a difficult matchup for whoever they have at linebacker and safety there for Philadelphia, because he's just so good in this offense. You can't take away everything, and taking away the run is going to open it up for Greg, and I think Cam's done a great job of connecting with him all year.
Yeah, and we know Jenkins and Thurman have played very well at the safety spot. We'll see how they match up against Cam Newton. We're talking with Al Wallace, who spent some time in Philadelphia during the Ray Rhodes era, and then at the end, the beginning of the Andy Reid era. What was it like here in Philly during those times? I know some tough times at the end of the Rhodes era into that Reid era here. So I'm assuming you were at a 3-13 mark, not some of the best of times playing here in Philly.
Yeah, it was a tough time, but the thing I remember most, a lot of great teammates, Bobby Taylor, Troy Benson, Ike Reese, Hollis Tyler. I mean, I could go on, and then they bring in Donovan McNabb with the Andy Reid era. Just a great fan base. They love their football. They know football, and a lot of fan bases can't say that. So a great sports town, and yeah, it was tough on the field, kind of getting wins, but always a great place to play. And I think my last game there, Eagles fans may not want to hear this, but it was the NFC Championship that sent us to the Super Bowl in 2004 against the Patriots. But it was great getting back there. I had to throw that one in there.
I was at that game, and it was very frustrating to watch that game. It seemed that the wide receivers for the Eagles, just for some reason, couldn't get off the ball that day. And you guys were very, very good defensively, as you mentioned, with that Carolina team. So what Carolina defense is better, yours or theirs, this current one?
Oh, without a doubt, it's that 2004 team. I mean, you had Peppers and Rucker, and I'll throw myself in. We had a great chemistry, and we had lost to the Eagles a few weeks prior to that NFC Championship game in the regular season, and we vowed not to let that happen. And we ended up knocking Donovan out with a pair of broken ribs, and I think that was the nail in the coffin for that game. And it was a low-scoring game, 14-3 or 14-6 maybe, but we just knew we weren't going to lose twice to that Eagles team. And this is a defense that was ranked second behind that great Tampa Bay team with Warren Sapp and Brooks. So So until the Panthers are able to kind of reach this current team or even last year's team that was also pretty solid, I'm going to go ahead and give us the nod on that.
Yeah, that was a game that was very cold that day, from what I recall as well. It was very cold that day in Philadelphia. And, Al, obviously, good to catch up with you. ESPN 730 down in Charlotte. The Eagles will head down there tonight. And obviously, 5-0. A lot of people still trying to figure out this Charlotte team, this Carolina team. Are the people down there buying them? Are they saying that, because the record of the teams they have played not so good, and obviously last year they were 3-8 to start off the season. They ripped off 5 in a row there, and they've won, 9 straight regular season games. So are the people buying into this Carolina team?
Yeah, the fan base here is all in. They believe in Cam Newton. They believe in what Dave Gettleman and Ron Rivera have built and the identity behind this football team. It's never going to be pretty, and I think a lot of fans who maybe doubt them, they point to that. So in the NFL, you have to win when you can, and this team has found ways to win. So we're all in here, and we're going to be excited to have Philly come in town to hopefully extend that winning streak.
Very cool. 14-3 was the game that night in Philadelphia. The Panthers go to the Super Bowl, which was one of the more entertaining Super Bowls that we remember in a long time. That was a really good one between Carolina and actually there have been a lot of good Super Bowls recently, but that one was a really high-scoring, entertaining game. Panthers and the Patriots. Al Wallace, former Eagle, now doing radio down at ESPN 730 in Charlotte, joined us here for the Outside View. Al, great stuff, man. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, appreciate it.